A bizarre haunting of sorts has plagued Cambridge Gardens since 1934. The case garnered attention when early one morning, a motorist was killed when his vehicle suddenly swerved and hit a wall and burst into flame. Ever since then, witnesses have come forward believing that the phantom bus was responsible for the accident. They claim to see a number 7 red London double-decker bus that will appear around 1:15 a.m. It looked so real that those who encountered it felt immediate dread when it came racing along the center of the road towards them. No lights or driver were ever visible. Many were convinced of the bus's authenticity and would try to swerve out of its path to avoid a head-on collision. Thinking they dodged a near-fatal crash, drivers would turn to look behind them. The bus had vanished without a trace. The Phantom was last seen back in May of 1990. In Bronx, New York City, a 55-year-old man by the name of James Godfrey Chenault worked at Kingsbridge Welfare Center for 20 years as a welfare clerk. On January 6, 1995, Mr. Chenault boarded an elevator on the first floor with several other passengers, but for some odd reason the elevator began to rise too quickly to the second floor. The elevator stopped, and when the doors opened it was sucked slightly above the level of the second floor. Chenault was a brave man who was a Vietnam War veteran, and figured that he could tackle the situation with ease. He was able to help some female occupants off the elevator. Chenault did so by straddling the doorway and tried to continue getting others to safety, but the elevator abruptly shot upwards, beheading him. Chenault's body fell down the elevator shaft, while his head remained on the second floor. 3 other passengers, including a pregnant woman who witnessed the horrific event, were taken to Lincoln Hospital for trauma. One of the passengers described the situation by stating, "I can't get it out of my mind. The head was there, but the body wasn't." He still had the earphones on his head. The elevator had a history of malfunctioning and was scheduled for repair that day. When visiting a restaurant or local grocery store, no one expects to find weird things lurking in their food, and some of these objects can certainly be more than just unappetizing. A 62-year-old electrician got an unpleasant surprise when he began eating a Mars bar that had a gold tooth in it. The electrician said he had made a complaint to Mars. However, the company wants to see Mr. Fitzgerald's dental records to make sure the gold tooth wasn't his. The man has not received any compensation nor an apology for the incident. A tooth in a candy bar is bad enough, but what about human blood? Human blood in food is far more common than we like to think. Take for example at a Louisville, KFC, and Taco Bell, a customer claimed that smears of human blood were all over her order. Brianna Ralston says she and her 1-year-old daughter were already home and had already eaten part of their dinner by the time they discovered what looks like human blood on the bag and wrappers. Ralston was told that the blood came from an employee who cut her finger. Blood can spread disease, but still may not give you the shivers as much as seeing a spider inside your food. This is what happened to a woman who bought a can of Chef Boyardee. Victoria Hara says she dunked the pasta square into the sauce and nibbled an edge off. That's when it became apparent that it was crunchy rather than squishy. She immediately spit it out and saw a leg sticking out of the ravioli square. During an interview, Miss Harris said adamantly that it was a big black spider, bigger than a quarter. "I started throwing up all over the kitchen. This thing had legs and hair." This goes to show you that taking a glance or two before you chow down on your next meal can be a wise decision. Oliver Munson was a school teacher in Baltimore who decided to purchase a used car from a man named Dennis Watson in January of 1983. A few months later, police contacted him about the exchange and informed him that the vehicle he purchased was in fact stolen. Watson was a career criminal who ran an auto theft ring and had recently been raided by police officials. Munson was clueless about the criminal operation and agreed to testify against Watson. When February 13, 1984 rolled around, 3 days before Munson was supposed to testify, he left his home to drive to work, but was a no-show. After his disappearance, police found his abandoned car nearly 2 blocks from his home, with a flat tire, blood, and an empty bullet casing inside. The car also had video store receipts. Many speculate that he was likely abducted and murdered to stop him from testifying. Dennis Watson has a shady history of run-ins with witnesses. Back in 1973, Clinton Glenn was set to testify against him in an armed robbery case. He was killed before that could happen. Watson was going to be put away for the murder, but the charges were dropped after a key witness against him in that case died of a drug overdose. Watson did plead guilty to auto theft and received 10 years in prison. Watson was paroled in 1989, but Oliver Munson has never been found.